Hello, and welcome to another Kelvin Chat for Kelvin parents and families. I'm Susan Beist, Parent Relations Coordinator, and I am pleased to be joined today by Tarita Johnson, Director of the Career Center. We're going to spend some time chatting about all the ways that Kelvin equips students for job and internship searches and the wide range of resources that the Career Center offers to your students. Later in the conversation, we will have time to take some parent questions. So if you have a question for us, please add it to the chat on this video, and we'd be glad to look for that later. You can find the Career Center online at kelvin.edu/career, and you can find them on Instagram at Kelvin Career. So now our Parent Council has provided us with some questions to get started, and then we invite you to add questions as well. So welcome, Tarita.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here.
Awesome. So we are 2 months away from graduation, which is really exciting for our senior class. But tell me, what are you saying to seniors who walk into your office and are looking for job search tips right now? What should they be doing, and what resources are available to them?
Well, we'd love for folks to come in, no matter what year they are in school. But if you're a senior, being 2 months away from graduation, we want you to get started today. The beauty of having the Career Center staff and our career coaches is that we're separated by industry or by your major. And we will walk alongside you in this process, not just as a student, but even after you graduate. So our Career Center has a lifetime service. And some of the things we want you to use a variety of strategies. So if you're searching for jobs or internships online, that's one way. There's great tools that we can help you to do that. Handshake being one, which we have right out of our office. You can access that online. You have a profile already there as a student, and you will see jobs all across the states, all across the United States for that. Also, Indeed is a great search option. In addition to online, we want you to attend events. So we have employers that come every week. Even this week, Thursday, is the Grand Valley State University Career Fair, which all Calvin students are invited to attend that virtually. I want to highly encourage you to attend that. There will be a number of employers there across industries. We also have weekly, like different employer office hours that at this point are remote, but employers will look at your resumes. They will give you a practice interview, just like our coaches will do at any time. So you can come to our office in person and meet with the career coach, or you can meet online. You can schedule that appointment through Handshake. So we want you to use every single tool to help you to get a job. And now it's on. I would put you in something that I like to call career coach boot camp until you got an opportunity.
That's awesome. You just highlighted a whole lot of resources in that little statement. So thank you for giving us that big picture. So let's talk a little bit about the job market. How has COVID-19 shaped the job market for our class of 2021 grads?
I will tell you this, it is actually better than it was this time last year, but it looks a little differently. So you will see a blend of remote opportunities or hybrid opportunities. So they're remote and in person. We just were talking in our staff meeting today about there being like 3,000 internships and all of these jobs in our Handshake system today. And that how the number of opportunities are better than they were this time last year. Now, COVID has had an impact. You may not see as many of these entry level openings, but they are out there. And so we really encourage you to come to even today's Workshop Wednesday. So we have a virtual session today, and the topic is in-person and virtual interviewing so that we can prepare you for the opportunities that are out there.
That's a perfect transition to my next question. So we know that our graduates are needing to do more interviews online. What are some of the specific ways that you equip them to do this well?
Absolutely. So they can come in. We offer face-to-face and virtual practice interviews. So if you wanted to do face-to-face, or if you wanted to do on our MS Teams software, we're doing that on a regular basis. And not just our career coaches. Like I said, we have employers that actually do office hours that you could come in and do a practice interview with them as well. And we're going to give you the tips. We're going to teach you how you should look at the camera, what your lighting should look like, how you should position yourself and be professional just as if you were in person. And like I said, again, you want to come to the workshop today. If you cannot make that workshop, that is being presented by National Heritage Academy on how to interview in this virtual environment, the do's and the don'ts. We record those too, and that will be available if you can't come today. We also teach you how to sell yourselves in these interviews, because I think sometimes virtually you may feel a little bit awkward. How am I coming across to the person on the screen? Am I giving them good eye contact in this environment as well?
So a different question from parents. Again, thanks to our parent council members who sent us these questions. But sometimes it feels like to parents or to students that someone who is an engineer or a nurse or in a pre-professional program has a much clearer path to what their first job looks like. But how do we equip our humanities students, and what does it look like for them to sell themselves as they look for a job?
I love this question because there is so much value in a liberal arts education. If you look at who is leading in organizations, if you look at all from the C-suite, all throughout companies and organizations across industries, it's folks that have a varied experience, that have varied intellect across disciplines. So selling yourself from a liberal arts perspective makes you very attractive. So maybe you don't have, maybe it's not a beaten path like a accounting major, which is also a great field, but you can take from all of these things, and we want you to look at skills that are comparable across industry. You will hear employers say today that some of the top skills that they're looking for are some of these practical skills, like how to relate with other people, how to communicate in person, online, even in your email, how to do public speaking, how does one manage their career or work in teams. They're also interested, can you work across difference? Do you have a global fluency? Because in our society today, this is a global marketplace. So you could leverage all of those classes that you thought, like, why do I have to take this? That's really going to help you as you go into the job and as you promote in your career. I would also encourage you to really or not hit, but actually network with Calvin alums who were liberal arts majors. I was a liberal arts major. Most of the people on my team were liberal arts major. Most of these folks that are working in higher ed and all of these different professions come from a liberal arts background. It actually is a strength. I would encourage you to not only reach out to Calvin alums, but also our career coaches. We can help you come up with an elevator pitch for how to sell yourself.
Awesome. I love hearing those elevator pitches from our grads as well, how they can just capture, this was my Calvin experience, and this is how I can serve you well. So switching to looking at some of our underclassmen and how we search for jobs and internships, I was looking at your outcomes report, which you do every year. The most recent one available is from the class of 2019, and 89% of our graduates reported doing an internship during their time at Kelvin. So how do we coach students on searching for internship type experiences?
Absolutely. So there are many ways. So we talked about some of those before. Handshake is our interface between the student and employers. So if you all have a profile already in there, but maybe you need to go in and you want to beef it up, because sometimes employers just search Handshake looking for talent, and these are employers from all over. So it's not any geographical barriers. Like I mentioned, we have the Grand Valley State Career Fair tomorrow that is virtual. It's free to you all. I think that's a great opportunity to network with employers, online platforms. Any of our virtual office hours that I talked about with employers, or the coffee chats that they do. We also have a number of workshop Wednesdays that are usually done by employers. I will tell you that I spent many years in corporate talent acquisition, and I recruited students all over the country. And in addition to the online, it was really my engagement with students. So if I came to a campus and I did a resume workshop, or I did the interviewing do's and don'ts workshop, that's a lot of times when I found really great talent. You know, we are seeing some trends lately that students are not engaging online as much when we have these type of events or career fairs. I know that Zoom fatigue is real, and everything that you do, classes, even if you're going in person as well, the online can get exhausting. But this is where you don't want to stop. This is where you want to encourage your students to get on their network with as many employers as possible. Another way is networking. Like I said, network with employers is networking with Calvin alums. I have never met a Calvin alum that doesn't want to help another Calvin alum. And so using sites like LinkedIn, if you don't have a great LinkedIn site, our career coaches can help you develop that so that people can find you. I am sitting in West Michigan today because of LinkedIn. Someone found me off of LinkedIn. That is how I've got a few of the jobs that I've had. So we can help you become more um, attractive on LinkedIn using the experience that you have, and also connect you to Calvin alums through the LinkedIn page for Calvin alums, as well as doing informational interviews. If there's somebody doing something that you want and they're a Calvin alum, reaching out to them. And we have tips on how do you do an informational interview. So it can be a little bit awkward, but there's also like a benefit in networking in this remote or virtual space too.
Well, as somebody who also works in the alumni office, I appreciate your shout out to the Alumni Network and our Kelvin Alumni and Friends LinkedIn group. And also the coaching that you give to students on how to make a contact with an alum or a parent or someone else in their network. Because I've had alums say to me, like, oh, this student reached out and did a really nice job presenting who they were and what they were looking for. So we are eager to help on that behalf as well. So another component of your office is student employment, and I'm looking at just the part-time jobs that are available on campus or off campus. So talk about what's available, and then one of my parents also said, how do you help students understand, especially in their first or second year, how to balance the number of hours they might work on campus versus they still need to keep their grades up and pay attention to classes?
Okay, great. Now, number one, there's another platform that Calvin has called Workday. That's where you'll see all of the on-campus employment. And there are great opportunities from anywhere from working as a department assistant, where you're doing maybe some light administrative work. It could be our dining hall facilities. It could be the library, my office. We have a number of students that work here too. And if you're, so these are great opportunities. And I will tell you, working on campus, people know that you are students first. So they work around your hours. If you have an exam schedule for some jobs, you can even do homework on the job. Now, the Career Center is not one of those places because we're trying to train you for after you leave here. But a lot of jobs are like that too. And that is valuable experience as well, giving you the tools to develop your professional etiquette so that once you leave here or once you go in an internship, it's not so foreign to you. So really, you want to look at Workday to see those jobs. If you need help and you're like, I don't really know where this site is or how to even access everything on there, you can contact my office. Courtney Banks runs our employment program in conjunction with our HR department, and she'd be more than willing to help you there. But balancing your time is working with your employer. So if I have students sometimes that are really stressed out and can't come in, we can adjust that schedule for them. Or maybe you don't work a full 20 hours. Maybe you can just do 10 hours. And so really looking at, you've got 24 hours in a day. You have so much time in classes. You have so much time that you need to study for those classes, as well as you've got to make some money. So how do I fit that in? And then I may have some extracurricular or social time. So it's all about managing and integrating sometimes some of those experiences. And I think working a campus job is going to be much more acceptable of you being a student and being a student first.
Awesome. And I'll bring up networking here as well. I know that in our office, sometimes we've had upper class students who have recommended, hey, my suite mate could be a good fit for this. They still need to apply because we make applications available to all students. But I would encourage our underclass students to network with students in their classes and in their residence halls as well.
Absolutely.
Let's
Many of us have seniors too, like I do in here. We're going to need people. So I've even had first year students before they even have started contact us in the summer about opportunities. So I just wanted to say that.
Mhm. And you have some awesome student workers in your office. I know that they're managing a lot of your social media right now, and they're doing a fabulous job. So, international students sometimes have additional requirements they need to meet or policies they need to follow for jobs on campus and off campus as they're about to graduate. So, what are we doing to build networks to provide jobs for our international students?
Absolutely. This is actually a passion of mine. I think we can do a much better job. So we're constantly working toward, what does it mean to be kingdom? And working with Calvin's immigration coordinator is really important to make sure students understand their work authorization and what those policies and procedures are. Career coaching, we're going to give you resources and suggestions specific to international students, such as looking at job descriptions and making sure that they actually hire the students that are international. Also, we have a list of employers who have previously or always hired international students. We also work with international students to give them a plan A and a plan B. Maybe within their window of 90 days for their OPT or CPT, they have to volunteer because maybe they didn't find a job right away, or maybe they're looking at the graduate school route. But this is a passion. It's also an area of pain for us as many career centers because we want you to find opportunities. So we are building our network to do that so that you have a plan A, a plan B, and maybe even a plan C. I would encourage international students that are feeling the pressure or even not to come in and meet with your coach, and they're going to have some specific steps to help you get through this process.
Wonderful. You've mentioned career coaches a couple different times, but can you just share a little bit more about how your office is structured and how you've been equipping your career coaches?
Yeah, so we have career coaches that are under the supervision of Meredith Seeger, who's been here for a number of years. And our coaches are divided by major. We even have a coach that works with undecided students. And so they really know in depth the majors that are under them. And I think that's really helpful for the students. They work with our employer relations team so that they understand what the employment space looks like. So, for instance, LaShawn has education. So, she's going to work with our education department closely because she's understanding the principles. She works helping to prepare students going into teaching, a number of things. She may do a number of workshops, even with our social work department, because that's under her. We have Lauren, who's working with our accounting and our finance majors and some other majors. So she has a close network with not just the faculty, but even employers in those areas. I remember in the past, she went to a lot of company info sessions and took students there, before COVID. And so we're still doing those type of things, but maybe in a remote space. We have Meredith, even though she is the manager, she's working with computer science and engineering majors, and she has some others like mathematics. And so they all have a cluster of majors. In addition to that, each of them have an industry mentor who is a Calvin alum who is working in industry so that they can stay in tune on what's happening in industry as things change moment by moment. And so they get some coaching that way as well.
I've really appreciated that about how you focused your career coaches and really equipped them to understand the particular industries, to work with professors in the majors, because we know our faculty are wonderful networking resources as well, and to really help them meet students where they're at. Parents and families, if you're watching right now, we remind you that you can add questions to the chat. We have about 3 more scripted questions here, and then we'd be happy to field some questions from you as well. So, Kelvin Lifework, 4 years ago, you had this vision and then you crafted this entire program with a wonderful map that showed month by month what students would do over 4 years to be ready to be stepping into the professional world. And I am so excited to celebrate with you that you have over 400 class of 2021 students who have completed the entire program. So that's wonderful. And tell us what stories you're hearing, what facts you have that our parents can use to encourage their underclass students to get involved.
Well, today in total, we have 1486, so 1,486 students in this program. We're very proud of that. The entire operations are run by my team, led by David Wolsterman, and we're so thankful for the work that they've done. We have built this program from the ground up. And I can tell you that a lot of our folks that are upperclassmen who have been in the program have given us great feedback. They have said things like, I feel more prepared to launch after graduation, or they've spoke about specific modules. So this program has specific content area in the area of vocation. What has God called you to do or calling you to do for that moment from a holistic perspective? So not just your career, but in the community, in church, as a student. So we look at this holistic view of vocation. Then we also do a lot of these career readiness modules, like how to interview. We actually just had several employers in for our Resumania last week. So the students in the program had to craft their resume, and it actually had to be scored and rated, if not a career center person, definitely by an employer. So that's a great opportunity. They also, few of them complain, we have an interview module where they have to record themselves answering interview questions, or, which is perfect for this environment, or they have to come in and do an interview either online or in person. So that's a great tool for them. Another area is our financial literacy. So we've had students say to me, I remember a student said, I never looked at my student loan and looked at how much money that I'm going to have to pay back. And I said, well, now you know how to live, because that entire premise is based off of Ron Blue's model that God owns it all. So we teach students how to be a good steward. And we've had a lot of feedback, like, our seniors now are learning things like they've learned about taxes and how do you pick your benefits on a job. It can be very overwhelming, like which medical program, which retirement package is for me. They've learned about compound interest. We know that the more time that they have, the more money that they could actually have available to them once they do retire. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback. We've also learned things about cultural competence, and also things around leadership and teamwork. We have a escape room that David Wolsterman created. We weren't able to do it during the COVID season, but we're hoping to bring that back next year. But we replaced it with another teaming module. So we've gotten a lot of positive feedback around that as well. Each module, we give students an opportunity to give us feedback, and at the end of the year, they give feedback for the entire program, and we listen to that feedback. So if students say, I don't know, when we first started the program, we were having videos that were like 20 and 30 minutes, and they were like, So now we chunk the videos, and we have a lot of different creative things, and we do different modalities. Like we even have a module on happiness where they can listen to a podcast, and students have really enjoyed that. So we've tried to diversify the modality of our curriculum, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback. I highly encourage you to encourage your students to stick with this program. It is going to benefit them. It's going to bless them when they graduate. And even right now, we did a survey of students, including us regular students and then students that are in the Calvin Life Work program. And the Calvin Life Work students scored higher than the non-participant peers on career readiness measures. So this means that the program is doing what it's been set out to do. And we're really trying to prepare students for life after college.
Like I said, it is so fun to see where this program has come in the past 4 years and to see how much we are living into the vision for it. And it truly is life skills, not just career skills. So thank you for covering that. In the early months of Calvin Life Work, especially for a first year student, you work with them on identifying their passions. So we talked with Thea Brophy a few weeks ago about how we work with undecided students, but from your perspective as the director of the Career Center, how do we help students who aren't sure what major or career path they want to follow?
Come see us immediately. I mean, Leishon Manuel, I said this before, she works with our undecided students. They can schedule an appointment with her through Handshake. Oftentimes what they'll do is they'll recommend an assessment called Pathway U, which was co-created by a Calvin alum, Brian Dick, who is a well-known vocational psychologist. This assessment looks at their personality. It looks at their interests. It looks at what type of workplace environment. Even if they think they don't know, they may know that they want to be in a place where they have to be around people or things of that nature. After taking this assessment, it actually matches them with several potential opportunities. And so they'll have high matches, medium matches, and those that are not as high to give them some understanding. It connects even to ONET, which is a system that will show them what the career outlook will look like. So, do they need to have a master's degree or PhD? Even geographically, what salary they can anticipate for this type of major. And so, the coach will often do an assessment, that particular assessment, Pathway U, and they'll walk them through like, what are the things that you feel that God is calling that you just naturally like? So, maybe you were in high school and you loved English. And so they're going to walk down those paths with you. If they see need, they may even do another assessment like Clifton Strengths Finder to see where your strengths lie and how we match that up. And so I think having this ongoing conversation with your career coach, along with your academic advisor and the faculty, we're going to really pray with you and help you through the process of what do I feel really led to do. My team, we kind of pose some questions to each other sometimes, and so one of the questions was, what problem in the world do you want to solve? And that's kind of our approach to it, looking at help you figure out what God is leading you to.
Wonderful. So you were just referred to faculty advisors, and one of the stats in your career outcomes report is that 25% of our graduates go on to grad school. And that's a little bit different of a path, but I saw some wonderful resources on your website for those students as well. How does your work intersect with students who may be looking at grad school rather than a first job out of college?
Absolutely. We also, I mean, 25% is still a significant portion. So we do offer, even in our Calvin Life Work program, there's some modules that faculty have done, and like Amy Wolsterman and several others that talk about particular majors and what that grad school process looks like. But we also do workshops around graduate school that any student, whether they're in Calvin Life Work or not, can walk them through what does this process look like, what should that timeline look at like. We may also pair with the faculty in that department that they're interested in to help them build a strong graduate school profile. This is also an area where I highly encourage meeting with the career coach. They can help you through this process. I'm currently in a PhD program, and let me tell you, having somebody walk alongside you and try to figure out what program, many of us in this department have done it ourselves. And so I believe that not only our coaches, but anybody in here could pretty much help you through. But I would encourage you to schedule an appointment. We do help a lot of students. We'll even help prepare, like, let's say it's the mini med school interviews. We'll do some mock interviews with you in that area, or whatever the area may be. We'll walk alongside you in that.
Thanks, Tarita. I'm watching our chat. I have not seen any questions there yet, but I have one final question for you, and then we'll see if any come in or if we will wrap things up. But let's speak specifically to parents who might be eager to support students because their employer is hiring. How can parents contribute to the Kelvin Network?
We would love for you to create an employer account in Handshake. You can do that by going to calvin.joinhandshake.com. Or if you don't remember that, you could go right on the Calvin main page and just type in Handshake, and it'll bring you to that site. And you want to post the openings or email. You could email my office at career@calvin.edu. We would love to have you, even if you say, like, I'd love to do one of those workshop Wednesdays, or my employer is hiring, or I'm hiring, and I'd love to do some practice interviews with students. We will work with you. Courtney Banks, like I said, in our office, runs that employer relations piece. And so we'd love to work with you, and as you support your student and others.
Great. We want to make sure we give parents that opportunity as well. I believe the Two Fish Company is owned by some Calvin parents, and they've stepped up as employer partners.
Yes.
And parents have posted jobs. And then, with my alumni hat on, I'll just share a favorite story. We had a student a few weeks ago who reached out to Dale, who is our alumni board member in Seattle, and she was from elsewhere in Washington, but looking to get back there for the summer. And he was able to connect her with 2 different employers, not in his field, but people he knew who then agreed to interview her, and she has an internship lined up for the summer. So whether it's alumni or parents, thank you for the ways that you open doors for our students and graduates as well.
We love that. Thank you to all our partners, Two Fish. We love them, and Tecton and others. First Mission, all of these are like Calvin alums, our partners, and that have helped us and hired people, internships, and even during the COVID season. So we really appreciate that.
Awesome. Tarita, thank you so much for your time today. I hope that parents realize that there is a wonderful group of welcoming staff at the Career Center who are eager to talk with your students, to coach them along, to help them break down this big task of finding a job into smaller steps. So we're grateful for all the work you do. Thank you for parents and families for tuning in, for continuing to be the support system that your students need. With that, we're wrapping up for today, and we look forward to seeing you at a future Calvin Chat. Thank you.
Thank you.